So what's up, Posse peeps, and whoever else is out there checking this out? This is our first ever Global Tile podcast. But right now, as I look at my screen here, I've got me and three others. I'm really happy to say that I just recently hired the Flash, and he is now working for Stoneman Construction. As you can see at the bottom of his screen, I've been trying to recruit Flash for a really long time, and I'm happy to say that he finally realized that he's no good as a business owner on his own. So he asked if I could help him out and maybe give him a job, and he's been looking for work. So Flash, first of all, I just want to say thanks for being here, and thanks for finally realizing that you're going to be better working under me. That's all I want to say.
Listen, Jay, I do appreciate the opportunity to be, being a part of the Stoneman crew. I've been lost for some time now as a business owner, as an installer. And, you've always been a great inspiration to me as a mentor, father figure, so to speak. You are a little bit younger than me, but I really do appreciate you taking me underneath your wing.
Yeah, well, everybody needs a father figure, so thank you. I want to introduce my co-host. My co-host here is Luke Money Miller. For those of you that don't know Luke Money Miller, he has the Tile Money Facebook forum and Tile Money podcast. I want to give a big shout out to Luke for putting this together. I am not, as people might think that I'm internet and electronic savvy, but I'm really not. As you can see, my backdrop right now is my boat, and I'm sitting outside. Luke's got this cool, perfect backdrop. So thanks to Luke as my co-host for being here. Obviously, as you can see, Robert Davis from Davis Solutions, who is just about an hour and a half south of me right now, is joining us too. I'm excited to start rapping with these guys, talking tile, talking life. There's so much going on right now with the coronavirus and how we are all adapting to that. So I want to give it over to Luke for a minute. Luke, what's up with you, man? What do you got going on?
Hey, Jason, thanks for that. And I'm happy to be here, happy to be doing this with you guys. And I'm just piecing this stuff together myself. As you can see, I kind of screwed up and put the cameras backwards and all kinds of stuff. So we're having fun with it. And it's you can't take this technology too seriously. It's going to screw you up in the end, at the end of the day anyways. So you can see who the real workers are all three of you guys. Carl and Robert are in their work vehicles, and we appreciate you taking some time out of your vehicle out of your day to be here. And that's it. I'm just the co-host trying to figure out this technology myself, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you have prepared for us, Jason.
Yeah, so I think I've been working on we're going to have some fun with these podcasts. I've been working on trying to come up with some sort of a game. We're going to do a little bit of a game show. It might not happen today, being that this is the first time that we're doing this, looking for sponsors, so that we're going to do a little bit game show. We're going to have some questions and some brackets, so that as the podcast gets legs and as it gets bigger, we're actually going to have giveaways. And we're going to do a game show where the people come in and we do interviews, and then we're going to have a 10-question platform where I ask each person 10 questions. The winner moves on to the next stage. I don't think we'll be able to do it today because I didn't have time in the last couple days to come up with a sponsor for that. But that is something that we have in store here. We want to try to make this fun. And I don't just want to come at this with tile talk. I want to talk a lot about life and what people have going on right now. So we haven't heard from RD yet, and I think it'd be important for my man RD to introduce himself. Robert Davis down there, what do you got going on, brother?
I'm sitting in my van in front of a job site. Got a crew working inside here, and I was just in there working with them a minute ago. I messed around with the virtual backdrops, and I just decided that nothing was as cool as my kids' drawing. So yeah, we're full through the coronavirus thing. It hasn't really put much of a damper on things here. As long as they let us drive on the roads, I'll keep buying pallets of material, and until they stop sending the tile, we'll stop sticking it to the wall. About it.
So hey, Robert, I want to touch on something really quick, because the first thing that comes to mind when I think about you and what you've got going on is the way you are as a teacher and as a tile setter. I think because of me, I guess I'll take credit for this. You're widely known as the Hitler of tile. And that's a really awful description, right? But
I don't think that's fair at all.
Jeremy has been down there, and I got to ask you, here's my first question. Has anybody ever installed tile for you and not had to remove a tile?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I'm sure. It's everybody is looking out for their own, ease of life. And so it's just like anything, we learn what is kind of the parameters that we're supposed to operate within. And it doesn't take tearing very many tiles off the wall before you stop making certain, mistakes or what have you, or, just, turn the quality up a little bit, slow down, and not have to tear things apart. And it actually feels much more efficient that way. And you build the repetitive skills of doing it the right way, slower, but then the repetitions of doing it, perfect practice just makes you a better tile setter. And the speed comes with the repetition of doing it right. And the reinforcement of I will just slow down and take my time and do it right comes from tearing tiles off the wall, tearing tiles off a heat mat. And don't you dare damage that heat mat,
Right.
But, especially, Ben, he sets a lot of tile that doesn't need to get torn off. These guys are good tile setters, and they're growing and improving every day. And the communication is really good as a team. So yeah. I mean, I would
think
say
that's
probably two or three times a week, one of us has to tear one off, me included. I'll be the first guy to tear my own workout to get it right. So
yeah, and I think that's cool that you say that even my guys know that Flash. I have a Flash story where this was a few months back. I was doing a master bathroom, and I had to tear. I was an idiot. I didn't cover the floor, and here I am telling my guys all the time, cover your floor, cover your floor. I tore out some tile in a shower. One of the tiles dropped and put a nice sized dent in a tile on the floor. Flash remembers this because I remember calling him and saying, I've got to tear this tile out of this shower floor. How do I do that over a sheet membrane? So yeah, Flash. What about you? Do you tear out a lot of tile, your own stuff?
Just to, I'll get to that, but just to RD's point, even me, with this name, The Flash, I've actually slowed down a lot. I mean, I've even had people comment, man, you took how many days on that? And because trying to live up to this name, I mean, I'm still efficient, still very efficient. I still have a great deal of speed. I'm getting older, but also I critique my own stuff. I see where I can improve on, where I can slow down and just take a little bit more time to just dial things in and get things to be better. Despite what many think, I don't know everything. I'm still learning, and I'm continually learning, and I want to learn just like everybody else. What's up, Brandy? You know what I mean? So yeah, I do snatch some tiles off, man. Listen, I've been known to snatch a couple of. I try not to wait till they dry. That is the biggest thing, because unlike
you fix your
Jason,
mistakes with trowels, not with hammers.
Yeah, dude. Unlike you, Jay, my tiles don't come out that easy, bro. You know what I'm saying? My stuff ain't that repairable.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, Brandon Cook just jumped in here. He came to the house real quick. He can't hear the conversation, but Brandon can speak on something. Brandon, what's it like having to tear out a tile because Flash just said that it's easy for us to demo the tile that we set. So let me ask you, from experience, what's it like having to tear out a tile that you install?
It's S48 or X78, it sucks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, that's because we set with premium materials is what he's saying.
Right, but if you're setting incorrectly with premium materials versus setting correctly with premium materials, I mean that's really the difference comes into play. I mean, can anyone else kind of elaborate on that?
I've torn out some VersaBond installs that were not easy to tear out. Like
there you go.
There you go.
A nice VersaBond reference. Luke, back in your, how long? Everybody needs a VersaBond reference.
Yeah.
Luke, it's been a while. How long? First of all, how long has it been since you physically set a tile?
Yeah, I'll answer that. Before I do that, though, I do want to encourage everybody to ask any questions that you might have for any of these guys or myself in the chat box. We've got 30 people here live, guys, and then we've got 30 people watching live in Facebook. So I'm going to do my best to field any of those live questions, and that's what's really going to make this podcast really epic is the live participation. I think Jason would agree.
Yeah, absolutely.
I stuck these foam tiles to my wall yesterday with thumbtacks.
They're up. They're up.
And you honored the pattern. That's good.
I honored the pattern. I followed the little
Yeah, I like that.
in the rear. No, I think the thing about it is let's see, when did I install my last tile? My last job was July of last year. So I'm coming up on my 1-year anniversary. I have not installed a tile.
What's that been like for you I've talked to Dirk Sullivan about this because Dirk said that the magic number, and Robert, this applies, and Flash, because I know Flash has got some employees, depending on the time of year and how busy he is. And also, not just that, this is a great topic. We'll talk about, we're going to expand on how to find good quality labor, because I know part of the problem that we've had here is finding good labor. But I talked to Dirk. Dirk says the magic number to be a business owner like Robert and Flash and myself, the magic number to not have to set tile anymore is five people. But Luke, I've asked Dirk, what's it been like not installing tile? What's it like for you to not have to go out in the field and actually physically set tile? I mean, it's a very brutal trade, as we all know, and we've all got the hands and knuckles to prove it. Do you miss it at all?
I think that was going to be my answer is, my body is really thanking me. I'm like 6'4" and like 220 pounds. And, my body really has taken a beating, from 18, 20 years of installing. And so I do miss creating, something that gives people joy. But the Tile Money podcast has been able to kind of be my creative outlet, and it still is helping people. So I think, the answer is really, I'm looking forward to owning my own house one day and installing my own tile.
Yeah, that's cool. Hey, RD, I had a chance to get down and hang out with you and your crew recently, and thank you for having me down. Obviously, we're very fortunate. I would give anything to be able to drive an hour down the way to hang out with the Flash for a day and show him how to set tile. But I was able to work with you for a day. What's it like for you? I saw your daily routine, and it's very much like my daily routine. Daily, you are just out, you're driving around, you're talking to your guys, you're having to boost them up, you're having to take a look at jobs, make sure that the quality is up. How has your life changed since you have become, full-time business owner, part-time tile setter?
It's a mindset that you have to turn off kind of the way that you react to situations. I know that, we tend to have like a Pavlovian thing where performing tasks often can be associated with the emotions and what was going on in your life when you learned them. So the first time, the first several months of owning a business and these mission critical tasks like bidding, procurement, delivery, all of these things that you're wearing, all those hats, those things can all be stressful things because you're learning how to do them right. So you need to force yourself to turn off that emotional response, because I bid work all the time. Almost every day I'm turning in paperwork to someone, and it needs to not be a stressful thing. It's a natural part of this. It's a good thing. So at a certain point of growth and being able to turn off the setting the tile, and now I'm looking at, my desk full of paperwork that I have to do, and I have to order these things, and these orders have to be right because the jobs are coming and the guys are coming. They're going to be standing there with trowels in their hands, and I'm going to be the idiot if it doesn't go off right, So taking all of that on, and it's a constant state of, I almost can't do this, man. It's almost harder than I can do. Like I feel like I'm at the verge of just bursting into tears some days, you know.
Oh yeah.
You know what it's like? It's a lot
Yeah.
of pressure, man. I don't even want to know. I could stop and count, but I don't want to know how many people get fed every day because this machine is going. And it's not, I don't mean that to aggrandize myself at all. I just mean it's a huge responsibility, and it can be a crushing thing if you dwell on it. So that's the other thing, is to not dwell on anything. We have to wear certain hats. You have a high level of accuracy that's expected of you when you're wearing that hat. And so you need to be able to compartmentalize and say, okay, right now I'm the purchasing agent for this company. and I need to pay full attention to that, you know. But then you also have to be like, I'm sitting here in my truck, and if I weren't on a podcast with you, I guarantee you they'd have come out here already and pulled me in there and said, hey, look at this. What do you want us to do here? So, you know, embracing that kind of thing is, I don't know. It's probably different for every person, but I'm just hanging on just by the seat of my pants.
Hey, Flash, what about you? I know you've had employees, you know, off and on, trying to find people that you can count on, people that when they say they're going to be there, they're going to be there. But you also have a fairly large family. So maybe talk a little bit about how do you balance that? How do you balance your work life with, everybody sees your amazing, I've met your amazing family. I've had a chance to talk to your kids and your wife and get close. How do you balance that? And so a couple things. How do you balance the work family life, and how stressful is it that you know how many mouths that you have to feed? And does that push you harder? Does it make you want to be a better businessman, better tile setter, that you have those mouths to feed and that people are counting on you at home?
Yeah, it does. It is, you know, my motivation. You know, it's just because I know how many people depend on me. I know what needs to get paid. I know how much, you know what I mean? I know my financial responsibility. But with all that being said, there's also the other responsibility of being a great husband, being a great parent. You know what I mean? So and I mean, Laticrete is awesome too. But you know, it can get tricky. You know, life is, you know, like, listen, there's no book on it, and you know, we learn every day. It's just like what RD was talking about with employees. You know, there was a time years ago, you know, 5-6 years ago, when I had, you know, 6 people on, and had I looked at things differently and reacted to different situations differently, I think back then I would have handled those situations differently. You know, I wasn't always the greatest teacher. You know, I knew a lot of things, but as far as me explaining, I set expectations of employees that exceeded their capabilities. And I didn't realize that, what I realize now is, you know, everyone has a niche, right? Everyone has a skill set. Everyone, and to not to discard those individuals because they're not, they don't have the capabilities that I might have right now at that point. So I what I've learned to do is put people where they fit. And you know, you have a certain talent that I can use. Okay, so I want to put you where you fit. And in the same time, you're giving them, you know, almost like your motivation to do other things, and you know what I mean. But you're also reinforcing that they have value. They bring something to the table because
you're a great grouter. Do you want to be a grouter forever?
Right. So there's this encouragement thing that you almost have to retrain your brain because, like you were saying, RD, you know, we kind of go back to how we learned and how we were treated and how and the different emotions that went into the way that we were taught to do something. You know what I mean? But you also have to realize that just like your children, not everyone responds the same way. So sometimes you might have that employee that needs a little woo-woo. You know what I mean? They need a little shoulder rub. They need a little reinforcement. You know, they need an encouragement. They need to hear, hey, man, listen, I want to let you know that, dude, you killed that job. Like that, without a doubt, everything is great. And even in our relationships, this goes for life. You know what I mean? Like when we do something around the house, we want our wives to say, hey, you know what I mean? Thank you, right? So the same thing goes into I'm learning all this now as I'm going through different things in my house and business and this and that. And you try to, you just try to change your behavior. You try to change yourself into being a better all around person. And then it kind of just goes into the business part and it goes into the family part, right? So I'm learning all these things as I'm getting older. And, great. I really do wish I knew all these things, when I was younger. I'd be further along. But I'm also very happy and grateful of where I am right now. And to be able to, to be a part of this and to know you guys and just everything that's, proceeded from there. It's been a good journey. It's been fun. And I can't wait to see where this year and next year and on brings us, because this has just been an awesome experience. From the first day I got on to Tile Geeks, and the first day I went out to a coverings, and you know what I mean, and just all these great things that happen with social media.
It's life changing.
So I'm really
Absolutely.
embracing it and just really learning and humble at the same time. I know certain things, and certain people look up to me and this and that, but I learn so much from everyone else.
Yeah.
So much, man. I mean, just crazy stuff. And I just look at some of these guys that are just, and gals that are just, they're kind of, they play the back. They're not in the front like all of us are. And I'm just like, dude, that guy is a monster.
Yeah.
Like monster. He doesn't post much, doesn't say much, but when he does post, and I'm just like, damn.
You take a step
work,
back.
right?
Yeah.
And,
Absolutely.
and it's so encouraging, and it's humbling, right? It's so humbling because, you just look at what you do and then look at what they do and you go, man, that guy right there, I'm watching this guy. You know what I mean? Or watching this person. Yeah. And, listen, everyone has their own personalities. I'm more, kind of in your face kind of guy, and that's just me. That's how I've always been. And a little bit live. Certain people are more laid back. Like RD is well, in social media he's laid back. Everybody, I want you to know that RD is a real party animal. So don't let that. You know what I'm saying? So it's just cool, man. I'm enjoying it, and I hope everybody else is too.
That's awesome. Hey, Luke, what about real quickly? I know we probably have some questions, and I'd like to get you to ask, talk to us about what questions are out there. But I don't want to leave you out of that. Your life has changed, being that now you have the podcast, and you're the one that's orchestrating all of this badassery right here. What's it like for you? You have a wife, and I think you have one
daughter. Yeah.
One daughter. What's it like for you having to, you're in Florida now. What's it been like, that change, and having to make sure that is how much stress do you feel to put food on the table every day?
Yeah, as a man, as a husband and a father, I do feel, pressure to do that. Definitely. Sometimes I'm wondering, I'm second guessing myself all the time, with this new venture, especially. I was starting a business. I was 3 years into it in a brand new location for me. It was a nice area, and I was making some headway, and sometimes I have to, wonder if I did the right thing. But I have been able to, eke out a living here, and I have a supportive wife who supports me and encourages me and believes in me. And the real reason I just continue to do it is because of the comments, honestly, that are coming through the Facebook stream right now. People keep saying, thank you for sharing your knowledge. Thank you for this group. Continuing to say, like, you're helping me. And Carl touched on this. Like, it wasn't until social media that he found the NTC, that he found coverings, that he found, the standard, the handbook, the CTI. I mean, all this stuff. And that's kind of that's why I keep doing this, because it's important. Somebody freaking has to do it. Because there's so many kids out there right now who are on social media. They're on TikTok, they're on Instagram, they're on the next platform that I don't even know about because I'm an old man now. But somebody's got to be out here. And these companies, a lot of them are saying, well, we don't want to be on social. We don't want to have a presence. And it's like, well, you're missing your audience. And that's possibly part of the reason why we see so many failures is we need to figure out where they are and be there.
Absolutely. So, do we have any questions coming in?
Yeah, we've got a great question from
let's do it.
Angie Gray. And Angie says, Angie says, it's tough for me to give away trade secrets because I have a competitive nature and don't necessarily want to answer all the how do you do it questions I get on the regular. So how do you guys handle that type of scenario, she asks. I think that's a good problem.
Well, most of the time, if I am doing something on the job site and I think, oh, you know what? That's a handy thing that not everybody knows. I'll usually just throw it up on the page, but for me, it behooves me to put as much into training as possible with my guys. Some of them don't need a lot of training. Some of them are more capable than me in areas, but I don't know. I think that if you taught a monkey how to make mosaics, that monkey's going to make really great mosaics.
Really good mosaics. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So,
what about you, Flash? What's your take on trade secrets? I know that I never had seen an envelope cut until you, and I had to pay. I don't think people don't know this, but I had to pay Flash for that knowledge by continuously complimenting him every day when I talk to him. I have to tell him that I think he's the best tile setter that ever lived, and so I don't think I'm ever going to do an envelope cut anymore because I'm tired of saying that to him. But Flash, aside from compliments, what do you charge for trade secrets?
I don't charge anything. I share a lot, man. I share a lot, and I share a lot openly, and freely. Just because that's how I learned.
Right.
I love sharing. That's just part of who I am. And, it makes me feel good. I love doing it. It just comes natural for me. And I wouldn't change that. It does get tiresome after a while. I do have my moments. I've learned that, just when people call me out of the blue or text me, that, they don't know what's going on. So instead of me answering you right away, I might just put you off for a little while just because I remember, because here's the thing in my mindset, when I'm at work, I'm an artist, right? And I'm in my zone. I don't want to be disturbed. I don't want to be bothered, but I also understand that, in the social media world, I've put myself out there to be this guy that you can.
Yeah, you have a responsibility. You have a responsibility.
Yeah, and you can, I throw my number out there. Everyone knows my number. I'm not hard to get in touch with anywhere. And I do that because we have this platform, and I want to be a person that someone can go to. And if you think that I can help you, then I'm going to help you. As long as I know that your intentions are well, and that you're genuinely using this information, and you're not just wasting my time, I'm there for you. And that goes as far as tools. If I'm working alongside of you, and I see that you've got a bum blade on your grinder. You just got some junk on there, and I'm looking at your cuts. I'm going, hey, dude, hey, check this blade out. I'm just going to give it to you.
Have a grinder blade.
Right. I don't want anything from you. And because that's how I got into the trade. My first snapper was, a Superior roller bearing, right? And, and my uncles gave it to me. And, my first pair of nippers, they were given to me. The grinder, all these things over time, so I've got I love sharing. I love giving a guy a tool, especially if I know that it can help him better provide for his family. You know what I mean? And to make him a stronger a person, and also being an influence on this person. Hey, man, it's easy to give. It's easy to help. And I don't want to be the guy that just wants to hoard all his secrets, everything that he was taught. I want to pass it on to generations, because I feel like that was lost and it went on for very long where, you know, a lot of the younger generation, they don't know how to mud a pan to save their freaking life, right?
Yeah.
So they use products that will almost aid them into screeding, right? Which is no problem with that. I mean, you know what I mean? It's you know, it's a tool. But I also want you to understand the fundamentals of actually screeding and how you can use it in different applications. And learn as much as you possibly can out here, because you don't know what the next job is going to need, right? So if you have all these tools, then now you have options of what's best for that situation, you know? So
yeah,
I mean,
I've always been somebody that, you know, I just believe that in order to push this industry where we need it to go, if I have something in my head and I think it can aid somebody out there, I mean, by all means, I'm going to put it out there. I've had people message me and say, hey, thanks for being so transparent with the knowledge that you know, the little tricks and things that you bring to the trade. And I'm always amazed at that. My question is always, why wouldn't I be? But there are people out there that you know, we've seen them, mud guys. I don't want to name any names, but you know, they seem to want to, you know, there are people that don't want to, give out that knowledge to push this trade, that we're supposed to keep it so that we don't help our competition or anything. And I think that's the wrong way of going about it. Luke, any other questions that we have coming in?
Yeah, there's a couple questions. I will say, like, to Angie's, you know, defense a little bit, what she does is very specific.
It's a niche. Yeah.
It's a very small niche. We did get a good comment from Scott Bowman, I think, on the subject. He said, being competitive is not going to spread the wealth and goodness, and nothing else is going to be able to come back to you. So what Scott is speaking to is the theory and the very real thing of giving to the world. The more you give, the more you get back, right? I mean, would you guys say that's true? The more you put out there, the more you get back?
I
give
say yeah. What's that?
Depends on who you give it to.
Yeah, I mean, you know, listen, I'm very, you know, gracious. I get a lot of tools and material that are sent to me, you know, free of charge, or hey Flash, I want you to check this out. Let me know your input on it. And, you know, I give a lot of stuff away, and you know, I have no problem doing that. Just because of the situation that I'm in, the position I'm in. I don't get everything free. So despite what a lot of people think, I don't get everything free. I spend a lot of money on tools, and other things that I might give away and stuff like that. I mean, Jay, what I just send you just last month?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that was an amazing gesture.
I knew that you could use it. You know what I mean? I knew that you could use it. There are certain things that we'll do like that just out of the kindness of our heart, and I think it goes a long way, because, you know, it's all about giving for me. And
right.
I get a lot of things, and I have a lot of favor where you know, people will just reach out to me and say, hey man, I want to give you certain information or what have you, whatever the situation is. So I'm not a stingy person when it comes to that at all.
So Flash, real quick, and Robert, before we let you guys go, we got to let you guys get back to your day. I do want you guys to both have an opportunity. RD, is there anybody, products that you use, anybody you want to thank, your reps or anything like that? Is there anybody out there that you'd like to give a shout out to before we let you guys go?
Yeah, man. You know, Sean Parker and Paul Luttrell, just the two reps, you know, that I work with the most, that we use mostly Laticrete and Schluter products. You know, the other day, I posted a post about bidding, and my phone rang like 20 minutes later on a Sunday morning, and it was Sean Parker wanting to talk business with me and offer things to help. And those two guys both draw from their life experience and are helpful in ways. It's not just, you know, what can Laticrete do for you today? It's, you know, it's more of a relational thing, and that's one of the reasons that we enjoy doing business with Schluter and Laticrete. Yeah, and then all the other folks in GTP, you guys are making it fun.
That's awesome. What about you, Flash? Anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Dude, I mean, all the vendors that we use have always been great. Schluter's definitely, been really good to me. Over these years, between Schluter and Ardex, Wheaty's been great. A lot of them have been really great. One in specific, I don't know if a lot of you guys, I'll just make the announcement right here. A lot of you guys don't know, but Phil McKay at Black Absolute Diamond has definitely been my guy, man. I mean, we've actually, I'm having my own blade line that's going to be released. I'm actually, after this podcast, I'm going to pick up my artwork. I want everybody to look out for the Flash line, blade line. We're coming out with an awesome blade line. You guys are definitely going to be happy. Some real fast cutting stuff, because I just can't cut slow. I ain't using the glass blade. Just wouldn't be in my nature. But Phil McKay has definitely been an awesome guy. Great person, great businessman. And he's given me the opportunity to come out with something really, really funky for you guys. And I want everybody to really look out, support it, and we'll be coming at you soon.
Right.
Nice. Well, thanks to both you guys for joining us. Luke, you got any last words for these badasses?
Well, yeah, I would like to ask this question from the audience because it's a technical question. I think if we can get three or four opinions on it, it would be good. What are your favorite prep materials for floating floors and walls?
209, Black Creek 209.
So,
We use pallets. We're burning through it, man. It's great.
And that's your dry pack mud.
That's my dry pack, and if we need to do wall float,
right.
We found 209 with lime is awesome. It is, it works great.
Have you used
3701 sticky for that? We found that it needed to have a little bit of lime added to it to really hang good on a wall. But just 209, is 4-to-1 basically. So we just added a 4-to-1 to 1 of lime, and it stands up.
Have you used their new light rapid mud?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
I have not. I missed the field trial by just a little bit, and we haven't had an application that was screaming for it yet. So,
how about you, Flash? You got any go-to deck mud?
My go-to mud is Mapei 4-to-1. Honestly, it's smooth. It's what I mean. It's I can pack it really good. I'm comfortable using it. I've used 209. And my first go around with it was just like, these granules. But once you get used to it, you can make a. Oh yeah. And I quickly realized the water content was so important in it. But I'll just say this, because I just used it. I just did a big backslash subway tile and beveled edge. I mean, not beveled edge, but miters all around. And I had to do some mud work with it, rendering on a wall. And I used the 209, and I quickly realized that water content was so important for that. Man, strong, bro. That stuff is a monster. And so I quickly gained a little bit of respect for it. I previously used it, and I didn't care for it, but I knew it was strong. I don't think I was familiar with it, right? So it's a learning curve to it, but yeah, I mean, it was great product. But yeah, I mean, for me, it's I'll pick up some Mapei 4-to-1 all day long, and be very comfortable in it.
Yeah. I personally, when I do most of the dry packs we do, obviously we do a cleavage membrane. We try to throw in some welded wire, and we do an A38 mix with Mason sand. And A38 is Ardex's rapid screed mix. So you basically, it's a 5-to-1 mix. It's a powder. You mix it in with your sand with an auger. And what I love about A38 is that it's if you mix it right, it's reasonably sticky. And if anybody's got experience with doing mud pans and dry pack, a lot of times, if you don't put enough in when you screed it off, if you're a little low, some of these premixes can be hard. It's hard to get it to bond to that finished surface. You got to chop it up a little bit in order to get it to bond back, and it'll pull off. With this A38, it's sticky enough that if you're low in some spots, you can add to it and still pull it. The other thing that's great about it is that it's a rapid. It fully cures, fully hydrates in 6 hours. So if we're doing, we do a lot of liquid applied stuff. We use 8+9 and SK175. So with your normal sand mix, you have to wait at least 3 days for the most part, depending on airflow, before you can do a liquid applied waterproofer. I see RD over there laughing right now.
Thank you for saying that.
I was actually
I see.
about that A38 though. So when you're packing that, does that stick to your like I use like a resin float to pack it and do a good bit of my shaving before I go to the screeds? Does it stick to the bottom of your trowel when you're packing
Not at
it?
all. No, it doesn't. I mean, it's an interesting product. And the other thing that I really like about it is that you can add a little bit more if you want it to dry a little faster, if you want it to be a little bit more rich. The other problem with doing that type of product is that you have to find clean sand, and you can't go to the Home Depot or Lowe's and find clean sand. That play sand is really dirty, and that can give you problems when you're mixing. So generally speaking, we have Mason Supply here in this Northwest Portland market, and they have a really amazing kind of already wet Mason sand that is clean, super clean. So another great product if you're trying to render a space, a wall, or if you've got an exterior area that's concrete, Ardex makes AM100, which is another great product that you can mix.
It is a good product.
And key in and not. I know that other companies have similar products, but AM100 is the one that comes to mind. But we've used that a lot too. You can totally go in and fix a space and screed something out with that if you need to float a wall and you need it done quickly.
Yeah.
And you get back on it pretty fast too.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to mention the AM100 as something to always have in your shop or your trailer, at least one bag, because you never know. But I was going to also say all these companies are just putting out incredible stuff. Being a California contractor, I know how to mix my sand and lime and Portland, but I prefer bags for several reasons. And a lot of these companies are making it so that, why would you mix your own stuff anymore? Especially if you're like a remodeler or a small crew, I get if you're banging track homes out or whatever, but
Right.
But all these companies have such incredible stuff. The smartest thing anybody can do is just call the rep and say, here's a situation. I need to go over plywood. I need to keep it at 1/4 inch. Do you have anything like that? And they will. Like, they'll have whatever you need.
Yeah.
And your mind will be blown and your life will be so much easier.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Any other questions out there, Luke?
That's really it from the questions. One question from Facebook I see here is how did he put that? What are the everyday struggles and how do you get through them? I guess of being a tile contractor.
Yeah.
We could go on.
I'll take.
We addressed a few of them, but yeah, go ahead.
I'll take a shot at it. What are the everyday struggles? Well, pretty much everybody that's on here right now understands some of the personal stuff that goes on. And what's kind of cool is that we all four of us here, we're not only on this podcast as tile business owners and tile setters, but we're also very, very good friends. And so we know that we each have some sort of personal struggle going on in our lives, day to day, day in, day out. I think that's a struggle, having to manage those personal things with your business and trying to keep things busy. Another struggle I have is learning how to be a better business owner and how to relate to my guys a little bit better and learning them, learning what the things that they need, learning that I sometimes I have to back off being the stone man, and I have to kind of, come down a little bit off this pedestal, I guess that you could say I put myself on at times, and learn how to kind of come down and talk to them without being this super neurotic OCD freak tile setter. I need to learn how to come off that and relate to them as human beings. So I think those are daily struggles for me. And just one more thing, making sure that I have work, making sure that I can keep these guys fed. I know RD said this before, and we talked a little bit about this earlier. I mean, I'm responsible for 3 human beings, and because of that responsibility, I'm responsible for a few more after that because of who they have in their life. And that can be a really difficult thing sometimes to wake up to have to know that if I don't provide work for these guys every day, that somebody down the line is gonna struggle. And so that is a struggle for me. I really, really try just desperately to make sure that I have work for these guys every day. And that can be a very, very, I mean, it can get a little depressing at times when you think that things are getting slow, especially the onset of this coronavirus. I got a little freaked out. My phone rang. Every one of my guys was calling me, Jay, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? So I think that those stresses, they are real. And I think they affect everybody in this trade. Even if you're just a sole proprietor, a business owner that doesn't have employees, you are worried about that next paycheck for sure.
Even if you're just an apprentice, you're worried that your boss is going to be able to keep you busy. I mean, everybody,
yeah, exactly.
We're all thinking about it. It's the new everyday struggle for everyone. All of a sudden, we all got to worry about it. Even if things are fine, we still got to wonder what's going to happen next week. You know? Yeah. Everyday struggles for me are, like I said before, compartmentalization is something that's just really mission critical to having a happy work-life balance. And so being able to say, okay, I'm just not answering the phone after 6 o'clock. There's nothing going on in your life that warrants taking time away from my family. And then planning, just being able to, it's weird. I can go anywhere and build anything by myself, but now all of a sudden with 4 or 5 moving parts, it's like, holy smokes, man. I'm just like, at the end of every day, I'm like, oh gosh, we gotta figure out who's going where and who's doing what. And then that, takes one thing at the end of the day, a monkey wrench from another sub on a job. And now you're revising that schedule. So yeah, managing anxiety, I guess, is about it.
Yeah. What about you, Flash?
I mean, for me, it's just, it's just me. Like I said before, I've had that anxiety that you guys feel with having employees and making sure that you have work. Fortunately, I don't have that struggle as far as keeping the calendar full. I've got some work. I've got people waiting on me, but with everything else, just being able to kind of make quick decisions, think on your toes, and just be flexible. Be flexible. I think being flexible is just one of the things that I've actually learned how to do pretty well. Is just kind of going with the flow. Luke and I were talking about it, and not fighting anything. I try not to fight anything. I try to go with the flow of things, and make the best decisions for it. You know what I mean? For me, for my family, for my business. I still don't take every job like I used to, just making good decisions. I look at the project before I take it, and I look at the time that's involved. I look at, the amount of money that's, the profit. So I like in and out jobs. I know what works best for me. So I just try to do what works best for me and is going to benefit me and my family, and just try to make those decisions. I've taken the jobs that I know I shouldn't have taken to make sure that the guys were working, and it sucks, man, because that you're really not making any money on the job, but you're keeping the wheels turning so that everyone is still working. And the profits are horrible, and everybody else does. The employees, they don't see what goes on behind the scenes.
Right.
The headaches, the GC that's stringing you. And he's looking at your money in his bank account, you know what I'm saying? Or the homeowner or the GC that's counting your money and going, man, you're making way too much, so I've been there. I like to keep things short and sweet. And I like to get in and out. I don't want to be in a project where, the homeowners know what I like for lunch. They know my pet name, you know what I mean? I've been there way too long. I like long lasting relationships, but with jobs, no, not really. I learned a lot by taking that big house in Princeton, and I know that that's not for me. You know what I'm saying? That isn't for me. I was just with Metten Gunger just now at that big mansion that he's doing, and I'm going, dude, congratulations, bro. I couldn't do it. He's been in there for 7 months.
Wow.
It's not for me. I don't want to go to the same house like that. You know what I mean? So you have to learn what is good for you and what fits your personality. And but at the same time, not be afraid to challenge yourself. I'm not saying don't be afraid of that, but just learn. Just take everything in stride and just learn from everything that you can.
That's cool. Hey, I want to take this opportunity to thank everybody. Not a single one of you has said happy birthday to me on this podcast, and I really appreciate that. So thank you.
Oh, wait, we weren't recording? We weren't recording? Well, we didn't want to bring light to it. You're 42, bro. I mean, really?
Hey, Luke, I want to say too that based on a lot of these questions, the questions that are coming in, I think it's important with the four of us on here right now that anybody out there, and I'm speaking for myself, but I know by saying this, I'm speaking for everybody here because I know the character of each and every one of you. Not that we always have the answer, but I know that I recently this week, and I help guys and women all over the country with questions with tile. I want to make sure that everybody out there understands that RD, the Flash, and I know Mr. Money Miller over there, we are always available via Facebook Messenger. And then look at the Flash. He's putting his business card up right there. And RD is too. So I want to make sure we're going to continue to do this podcast. And the podcast is going to evolve. This is our first one. And we have a lot of really cool stuff that we're going to start doing. We're going to be doing some giveaways. We're going to be having, we've got a little game show contest that we're going to be doing. But I also, here's the important thing about this podcast. We want to be available to everyone out there that is young and eager or old and eager. And if you're an individual, male or female, that wants to learn more about this trade and get more involved, if you want to be a member of this contest, this podcast, and talk to us on the podcast, we will talk to anybody. If you have a story to tell, I really want to dive into people's stories today. There's a lot. Luke's got a lot going on, and he happened to have made the time to do this first podcast here in a Global Tile Podcast. We want to thank him, but I want to say that we are going to be diving into the story, the roots of tile, and the passionate part of this industry. I want to talk to people that have stories, people with addictions. I know, RD is very transparent about some of the things that he's been through to get where he is. And if you're somebody that has a story, that you've been through something, that you've had to overcome something, I know Mark Christensen talks openly about the things that he's been through. We want to talk to you because what I know about life is that life and everything that we go through, it's all based on emotion and love. And those are the things that we really want to focus on here in this podcast. So I do want to say thanks to my man, RD, and I'm hoping RD, whether the weather, if the weather stands up here, we're going to see you in a couple of days go-karting. And I want to say thanks to the Flash for making this happen today. Thank you both.
Yes, sir, brother. I appreciate all of you guys. Honestly, this is good stuff, and I hope that we continue this, and just being able to reach other people and learn something from them and share stories and make relationships and just be influential to this whole industry.
Love it.
And it ain't gonna happen without talks and podcasts like this and people like Luke and you RD and you Jason. We definitely hold some value and bring a lot to the table, and we just want everyone else to be involved with this and to embrace it. Because,
there's no reason we live our professional lives, man, and being in community with all of you guys, it's put a facet on my work life that was unavailable to me before social media, and I'm just really happy to be a part of it, man.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys.
Yeah, just a couple. Before we don't need to jump off right now. Just a couple more closing comments from the podcast. I just wanted to say if anybody's just catching this now, the replay of this podcast episode, this premiere, will be available starting, I'm thinking by Friday on the Tilestone Virtual Trade Show website. It was the Tilestone Virtual Trade Show that kind of is backing this podcast, thanks to a bunch of our great sponsors, Bostic, who else we got? Go Board sponsoring that. And I might be forgetting one or two here, but that was really the main sponsors from the industry was Ladder Creek, Go Board, Bostic, and Built with Foam. So I want to thank them for helping me launch the Tilestone virtual trade show. And if any of you on Facebook haven't been watching that, again, all those great educational content is going to be available for replays on the website. Stoneman can tell you about his podcast a little bit more, but I believe, it's going to be both video and audio and available for replays, as well as probably a scheduled live program. Is that right, Jason?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the goal going forward. I've got I think between the two of us, Luke, I've got a really, really cool, interesting, we're going to do some fun stuff. Everybody loves competition. So we're going to involve a little competition into our podcast. We're going to have a little game show. We might even we're going to do some live karaoke here in the Global Tile podcast. Everybody's really proud of being able to, they see people like Dave Bitton playing his guitar and James Richkes. These guys all want to show how share out their singing voices. I know Anthony Moses can rap, and he made me rap, and I sounded like an idiot. So I don't plan on doing that again. But we are definitely going to do some live karaoke here in the Global Tile podcast. If you're somebody that thinks you want to go up against me or Luke or even the Flash or Artie, if you want to call somebody out in a karaoke contest, we're going to have that here in the Global Tile podcast. We are definitely going to have some fun with this. And one of the main things, and I want to stress this: if you have a story. I know Michaela Fedor, she's got an amazing story. And I was starting a website that I had been working on, and we were going to showcase her story. The website's taking some time to develop. So if you're somebody like her, or if you have a story, if you've been through anything to get where you are. I know my story has been talked about, how I had never set a tile about 12, 13 years ago. And in order for me to stay in business, I got a phone call. The guy said, "We heard you set a lot of tile." And I said every day. I had never set a tile. So I think that there are stories out there that people want to hear and need to hear. It's been well documented that I did my CTI with one hand. That's another really great story that people should hear. So anyways, I'm really just trying to showcase all my skills right now. If you guys haven't noticed, it's my birthday, so I'm taking liberties. So if anybody has a story out there that they want to share, this would be the podcast to do it. It can be about tile. It can be about life, hardships, anything that you've gone through to get where you are. We want to hear it.
Very cool. Very cool.
Awesome. And happy birthday.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
We've also got 3 trade booths, Ladecrete, Go Board, as well as Bostic. They're open to visit, virtual trade booths. And if you go visit the virtual trade booths from TilestoneVirtualTradeShow.com, you can actually, you're entered to win a huge raffle. All these companies are giving away stuff. It's actually equals up to several $1,000s worth of stuff. So the raffle's free, and we're going to be doing that Wednesday night happy hour, 8 p.m. So hope to see.
Are those trade booths like scheduled things that you need to watch live, or are they like an on-demand kind of podcasty thing?
So they're live 10 a.m. to 6 every yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So you can hop in and out of them. What's that?
Every hour on the hour kind of thing?
Yeah. If you go to the website, TilestoneVirtualTradeShow.com, you'll actually see a button at the top that says see the booths, and then you can hop in one of them at your free will. And there's a bunch of tables to go and talk to the reps. You can watch 5 videos from these companies that kind of showcase their latest innovations. So
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. These
Hey,
are
Luke,
emails. We're getting these emails too, because I know I've received some of.
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
we have. Yeah,
I'm emailing you guys like crazy right now. So,
Yeah.
but you can opt out of them if they get to be a.
Hey, Luke, the Global Tile podcast, is it going to be, we haven't really talked too much about how often we're going to do it. Are we going to do it bi-weekly? Are we going to do it, do we have a game plan for that yet? Or is this just something that we're going to kind of play it by ear and see how things go?
Yeah, I'm going to follow your lead, McD. You know, we've got a question from the audience. I'm a freestyle guy. We got a question that says, how do we request to be a guest on your podcast, Jason? And that's from Stacy Greenberg, it looks like. So I'd say Stacy just did it, and we'll schedule it.
So Stacy, you just became the first official guest. I mean, not to say that the Flash and RD aren't official, but these guys have, they've been, look, we are all very used to having our face on these screens, you know, and that we can touch on that. It's not because I don't think any of us had a plan for this. I know when I first came in, the Flash was one of the first people that I saw, his work, and I had paid attention to him. And I kind of, he was kind of a mentor to me to become more seasoned in this Facebook thing and doing videos and stuff like that. And now he's become one of my very best friends. So I think that we have all grown into this, and we happen to have not just we have a voice, and we have the skill set to back it up. None of us could be doing this if we weren't respected in what we do. And that is because we take what we do so seriously, and we do it with so much passion. So, I didn't plan for this to happen. I didn't plan for me to be the face on the screen. It just happened. So if you're somebody that wants to have a bigger footprint in this industry, if you want to make a difference in this industry, by all means, reach out to Luke or myself, be a member of this podcast, and see if this is something that you gravitate towards. So, what was the name of, you said Stacy, is that her name, Luke?
Stacy Greenberg. Yeah.
Stacy Greenberg. Stacy, do me a favor, reach out to me on private messenger right now and give me your cell phone number. I will call you, and we'll come up with some things that you want to talk about. You're an interior designer. This is great. Stacy, I want to talk to you. This is fantastic. That is the kind of stuff that I want to talk about. Yeah. We all want to teach you
a few things I'd like to say to you about designers.
Yeah. Yeah. We all want to teach you application. Okay. No, you cannot put that shower drain on the ceiling. You can't do it. Okay. You got to learn about it, son. Stacy, we'll schedule you for next week. We'll do it next week, and we'll start pushing this thing. And our next guest will be Stacy Greenberg, and she's a designer. We'll find out where she's from, and we'll have some fun with it for sure.
Yeah, and if you want to get to know her a little better, she's got a session today at 5 p.m. She's actually talking about her design, business, and answering questions during her live during the tile.
Now you got homework, Mr. McD.
That's it.
I got some homework to do.
You got homework to do.
Since I haven't had a chance to do this, I want to give a shout out to my peeps over at Ardex, and thank you for all the support that you've given me, and Ruby. Ruby's really helped me out a lot. I have most of my cutters are Ruby cutters, and I love that. Obviously, my relationship with GoBoard has come a long way, and I want everybody to know that I still plan on doing Stoneman in a van. As soon as I'm able, I'm going to get into a van. I'm going to travel around this country. I plan on going and spending the Flash wanted me to teach him how to do SLU pours. So I was going to come out and give the Flash a hand doing that. And I plan on spending a week with Luke down in Florida. So that is still going to be something that happens. And we'll touch more on that as the coronavirus. That's another topic that I'd like to touch on. Obviously the coronavirus is a big deal right now. So we'll touch on that too. But a lot of really amazing things to talk about, some great content. And thanks everyone for being a part of this today, for sure. Mask up, son.
All right, Jason. Thank you so much. Thank you, Flash. Thank you, Robert.
Thanks, guys. Happy birthday, Jay.
Thank you, guys. Love everybody.
Thanks,
Thank you. Posse up.
All right.